Om Brahmanandam Paramasukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamatsyaadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ सर्ववेदान्तसिद्धान्त गोचरं तमगोचरं गोविन्दं परमानन्दं सद्गुरुं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्. So we have just completed, we are on the topic of the description of the not self. Before that, we were on the topic of Viveka, means we are still on the topic of Viveka, which is discrimination. The highest discrimination is between self and not self. And because of that, we need to know what the not self is. We need to know what the self is, and only then we can discriminate. Without knowing one or the other, discrimination is not possible. So the discrimination of the description of the not self is going on. And in that, we have been told that there are three bodies that we all have, with the gross body, the subtle body, and the causal body. And these three bodies only are divided into the five koshas, so the five sheets, which is the Annamaya kosha, the Pranamaya kosha, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, and Anandamaya. So the gross body is the Anandamaya kosha, Annamaya kosha. That is the gross body. And the subtle body is made up of three sheets, which is the Pranamaya kosha, the Manomaya kosha, and the Vijnanamaya kosha. So it is the sheet of the pranas, the mind, and the intellect. And now we go on to the causal body. Karana Sharira or Vasanas. Those of you who are familiar with Gurudev's chart, if you remember, right at the top, Gurudev has the Om, and then there is the V standing for Vasanas, and then he has the BMI, and then the perceiver, feeler, thinker, and the objects, etc., etc., thoughts, objects, thoughts. So the B is the Annamaya kosha, which is the gross body, and between the B and the M, which is not indicated, is the Pranamaya kosha. So the Pranamaya kosha, the M and the I represent the subtle body, and now we are moving up the ladder into the V. So that is the Vasanas. Just recently, last week, we completed the discussion on the three Gunas, and the reason that that also is necessary, the description of the three Gunas, is so that we figure out where we are, what is the predominant guna within us, and try to move upwards. So if we are predominantly tamasic, then let's get into rajas, and if we are predominantly rajasic, then let's get into sattva. And from sattva, we stay in sattva and then move on to Vishuddha sattva, which is extremely pure, wherein the rajas and the tamas is very, very, very little, very minuscule. So can't be seen, hardly seen. Like I gave you the example of the water. If a glass of water has got salt in it, the water will taste salty. But if you want to make it pure water, then all you do is keep on adding fresh water to that cup of water, and the saltiness is going to go on reducing totally. And that is what is to be done. There will always be a mixture of sattva, rajas, and tamas. You cannot have any one of them into zero. But the percentage can be controlled. And if we want to reduce rajas and tamas, we just increase sattva and we stay with it. And we just stay in sattva, and then we will achieve Vishuddha sattva from there. Okay, so that was a synopsis of what we have studied so far. And now Bhagavan Shankaracharya is going to explain the causal body. The reason that it is called causal, because it is the cause. And that's why in Sanskrit it is called as the Karana Sharira. Karana, cause. What is it the cause of? It is the cause for the birth in a particular womb. That birth could be animal birth, plant birth, or human or devata birth. So it is the cause for the birth. It is the cause for the length of life. It is also the cause for the experiences that we will go through in life. It is the cause for the body being a particular way, the height, the weight, the color, the hair, the color of the eyes, you name it. Everything that is relating to the body, it is the karana, it is the cause. Also the mind being kind, compassionate, cruel, unjust, just, intelligent, dull. All those things are in the seed form or in a subtle form in the vasanas. Just like, which is the vasanas is the causal body. It is causal body, karana sharira, vasanas, avidya, maya, deep sleep, nidra, all these are synonyms. Okay. And when suppose we want to build a house, then what we do is we have sort of an idea in the head, and then we give that idea to the architect, who draws a picture on paper first. Have you ever seen a building being constructed without any paper? So that paper is there is a drawing on that paper, and the architect will explain, okay, this will be your living room, this will be your this room, that room, that room, that room. And if that is what you want, then we start building it actually. So that blueprint is this causal body, blueprint for us, for our existence, birth, experiences, everything. Body, the way the body is, the mind is, and the intellect is. So that is the blueprint which we bring at the time of birth, which actually the blueprint determines our birth. So that is what it is. And that's why it is known as causal, that which causes birth, that which causes experiences, that which causes death. So that's why it is called the causal body. So now Bhagwan in 2 verses is explaining that. Avyaktametat trigunairniruktam tatkaranam nama shariram sushuptiretasya vibhatyavastha pralina sarvendriya buddhi vrittihi. This unmanifest, described as a combination of all 3 gunas, is the causal body of the individual. Its special state is deep sleep, in which all the functions of the mind, intellect, and the sense organs are totally suspended. So this unmanifest, subtle. Manifest means that which can be known by the senses, which can be perceived by the senses. It could be any sense organ, okay? It could be eyes, nose, ears, whatever. It could also manifest also is inference also comes under manifest. If I infer that there was rain outside while I was sleeping because the road is wet, that is also manifest. It is manifest to me in the mind. So whatever the mind thinks also is manifest. So this, if we call it as unmanifest, then unmanifest is that which cannot be perceived by the senses nor by the mind. So it doesn't include inference, comparison, all those means of knowledge it doesn't include. And the reason it is manifest whatever is in our vasana level, we don't know. Those impressions are in subtle form and we have brought them with us. It is a baggage that we have carried, but we don't know what is in that baggage. And that is why it is called as unmanifest. It is unmanifest to us. See, our body is manifest to us, means I can myself see my body, plus others can see my body. So it's manifest on both counts. The mind, it is manifest only to me. I can see my own mind, means I can know what thoughts are going through my mind, but somebody else cannot know. So my mind is unmanifest to somebody else, but it is manifest to me. My intellect also is manifest to me. I know how intelligent I am, or how much I know, how much I don't know. I know all that. But this vasana level is unmanifest to me itself. It is unmanifest. So there's no way that it will be known by somebody else. Okay, and that's why it is described as unmanifest, as a combination of all three gunas, because another name for the causal body is Maya. And everything, that's why we say only the Om is above the gunas. Everything underneath is under the influence of the three gunas, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. We have studied them in detail, so I'm not going to go into it. So avyaktam etat trigunaihi niruptam. So of the individual, its special state is deep sleep. Tat karanam nama sharira matmana. It is known as sharira, body, because it also, sharir is that, shiryate iti sharira. Shiryate is that which decays and it has an end. Whatever is called as sharira, body, the description of the body is that which has an end. And the reason that this level also is called as body, because it will end. It is ignorance, it will end in knowledge. Causal body also ends. That's why for realized masters, where that causal body level is not there anymore, they don't have rebirth. Because there is no blueprint. Then how they will take birth? A house can be built only with the blueprint on the paper. So a birth can happen only when there is a blueprint. Now, if that blueprint is wiped out, there cannot be any birth. So it is called as sharira as well. That is the reason that why is it called as body? Because when we say body, when we use the word body, then only the physical body comes to mind. But the mind, intellect, the subtle, that's why it is called the subtle body. It is also a body because the mind also ends. Actually, it's our experience that mind ends every night in deep sleep. So mind ends at some point, and that's why it is the body. Then vasanas, do they end at any point? Yes, they do end in knowledge, they do end in realization, and that's why also they are called as the body. Tat karanam, that's why it is known as the sharira. Sushupti retasya vibhaktya. So its special state is deep sleep. I told you the vasana level, because why deep sleep? Because in deep sleep, everything is unmanifest to us. The world outside is also unmanifest in deep sleep to us. Whereas what am I? That also I don't know. Like, I don't know if I'm rich or poor. I don't know if I'm worried or happy. I don't know if I'm healthy or not healthy. Maybe I'm getting a headache. Once I fall asleep, once I go into deep sleep, I don't experience the headache, whatever, or body may have some disease. But once I fall asleep, I don't know. That's why its special status is deep sleep. That's because deep sleep, everything is unmanifest to us, not dream. Deep sleep. We have seen the three states also: the waking, the dream, and the deep sleep. And in the deep sleep, everything goes into unmanifest. Okay, that's why it is known, in which all the functions of the mind, intellect, and the sense organs are totally suspended. This deep sleep we experience every day, every night. So we really don't need Shastra to tell us this. Do you need somebody to tell you what happens in your deep sleep? Is your body functioning? Is your mind functioning? Is your intellect functioning? Do you know what is going on? It is not. Like, we fall asleep when the TV is on. The TV is on and the colors and forms are there and the sound is there, but we don't know once we fall asleep. So this is something that the realized master, it is our personal experience. Sarva prakara pramiti prashantihi bijatmana vastitireva buddhehe sushuptiretasya kila pratitihi kinchinna vedam iti jagat prasiddhehe. The mind remains in a subtle seed-like form in deep sleep, which is the state of complete cessation of all kinds of perceptions. Indeed, the universal experience in this state is, I did not know anything. So in deep sleep, does the mind, there are two words, manonasha and manolaya. Bhagavan Raman Maharshi's words, these are. Manonasha is a destruction of the mind. Manolaya, laya is just a sublimation of the mind, a cessation of the mind. In deep sleep, manonasha does not happen. If it would have happened, all of us would have been realized. Because we go into deep sleep, we can just afternoon, morning, evening, we can go into deep sleep at any time. If deep sleep was taking us, if manonasha would have happened, all of us would have woken up realized only. But manonasha doesn't happen, manolaya happens. And how do I know that manolaya happens? Is because during that deep sleep, I have absolutely no inkling of where I am, what I am. I have absolutely no inkling. So the mind, all these things are known to us through thought. In the waking state, how do I know that I am 5'4", I am a female, I am a mother, I am a father, I am whatever, I am an employer, employee, how do I know? It is through the medium of thought that I know. So when the thought itself is folded up, there cannot be any knowledge happening. And it is a universal experience, it's a state of complete, all kinds of perceptions. Therefore, it says all kinds of perceptions. So inference cannot happen, comparison cannot happen, nothing happens. And then when I wake up, that is another proof that the manonasha has not happened. Destruction of mind doesn't happen, because when I wake up, that same mind which was worried will be worried. I will not feel the worry in deep sleep, but suppose if I was worried about something or I was happy about something, I go into deep sleep, I don't perceive either one, the worry or the happiness. But when I wake up, immediately that worry will come or immediately that happiness will come. And then in the past, I say, I did not know anything, did not, past tense. During the deep sleep, I cannot say I don't even know that I don't know. But when I wake up, that is my experience. So this is experience of all of us. So there is no Shastra backing that is required. Any questions?
Jayaji, what is the difference between subconscious and conscious mind?
Subconscious and conscious mind is the waking mind.
Waking mind. Okay.
Then there is the deep sleep, and then subconscious, actually they say it is the vasana layer.
So it's somewhat similar to the causal body that we are talking about.
Yeah. Because what is in the subconscious, even the mind doesn't know. Right? Therefore, in hypnosis and all, they pull out those things from the deeper layers of the mind. All right. So, so that is what deep sleep is. There is no apprehension. Now he gives a general description of not self. He has given in detail the not self, the description of the not self, but he sort of concludes in 2 verses what is the not self. देहेन्द्रिय प्राणमनोहमादयः सर्वे विकारा विषया सुखादयः व्योमादिभूतान्यखिलं च विश्वम् अव्यक्तपर्यन्तमिदं ह्यनात्मा. The body, sense organs, pranas, mind, and ego, etc., and all their modifications, the sense objects and their pleasures, etc., the gross elements such as ether, etc., the whole universe up to the unmanifest, these constitute the not self. So if you bring Gurudev's chart in front of your eyes, right? Starting from the objects, emotions, and thoughts, that is the bottommost, OET. Then there is the perceiver, feeler, thinker, PFT. You should never forget Gurudev's chart. It's very important. PFT. I don't even have it in front of me. I'm just telling you. And then there is the BMI, body, mind, intellect. And then there is the V. And then there is the Om right on top. So the unmanifest, Dehendriya Prana Manohamade. So he starts from Deha and Indriya. So he's starting from the BMI level. From there only it is not self. What to talk about these other grosser things, like my feelings and my perceptions and my whatever, and then the objects of the world. Even when we started the description of the not self, I told you that the reason that Bhagwan starts the description of the not self with the body and not with the world. Don't think that body is not self and the world is self. Don't think like that, because it is very easy for us to understand that the objects of the world is not me. Nobody says that I am my computer. No matter how much I like my computer, how much I like my house, my gold, my jewelry, my clothes, nobody says that I am the clothes, I am the jewelry, I am the this. Nobody says that. And that's why in the not self, this is not included. But please note that all this world is also the not self. Okay. So the BMI, now, BMI itself is not self. Whatever the body perceives, how can that be the self? BMI only is, so we are at there are the 3 rows. The top row is, we are starting not self. Whatever that top row afterwards it does, like the body perceives, the mind feels, and the intellect thinks, how can that be the self? Can't. So up to V, unmanifest. That's why it says up to. So what is not self is V, BMI. So what is the self is only Om at the top. So self, and by self, what do we mean? That is what is the reality. The absolute reality is that. Everything else is a appearance, is an appearance. It is a relative reality. It is mithya. Okay, because we experience it, we see the body, I feel the mind, I feel sad, I feel happy. Because I experience it, it doesn't make it real. And the example is, I experience the blue sky. Is the sky blue? So just because I experience it, it doesn't make it real. I see the mirage waters. I'm walking in the desert in hot sun. I see the mirage waters. I see it, I experience it. I want to drink it. I'm very thirsty. But is it real? It's not. And so this is what he says. And then Vyomadi, of course, space and all the 5 elements, earth, air, fire, water, all those fall under the not self. This one is doesn't have a meter. Maya karyam sarvam mahad adi deha paryantam asat idam anatma Tatvam Viditvam Maru Marichika Kalpam. Maru Marichika Kalpam. Everything is due to the effect of Maya. So he explained what the not self was, BMI, Vasanas. I told you, it is the not self means it doesn't mean that it cannot be experienced. So it is being experienced. So now he explains, why is it being experienced? If it is not the not self, why is it being experienced? And he says, everything is due to the effect of Maya. It is that's why Maya we discussed. Maya is the cause for all this, from Mahat down to the gross body. So this Mahat is Hiranyagarbha. So Ishvara has, Mahat is totality, is the total mind, which is technically known as Hiranyagarbha. So down to the gross body. So in the totality, there will be Hiranyagarbha, and the gross body will be Virat. We saw, those of us who studied chapter 11 of the Bhagavad Gita, that is the Virat. And at the individual level, it is the unmanifest down to the gross body, which is known as Vishwa. That is our individual body. All this, know thou that these and Maya itself are the not self. So Maya also, description of Maya, I already told you, Sama iti Maya. That which is not is Maya. It is not there, but it appears. It appears. Like the mirage waters. That's the best example. Mirage waters. The sky appears blue. It is not blue. There is no sky only, actually. But it appears blue. So it appears that it is there. Not only that it is appearing, but it is also appearing as blue or gray or whatever. Therefore, they are unreal like the mirage waters in the desert. So just like when you come to know the mirage waters, they are unreal. So mithya, they should not be taken as not existing. They are appearing. So they are really not existing, they are appearing. And because they are an appearance, they change. We saw in chapter 13, what is kshetra? Kshetra is that which is seen. First thing of kshetra is it is seen, it is changing, it is inert, and then because of that it is mithya. So mithya is something which you must understand this, that mithya, if you want to call something mithya, you have to first see it. You cannot call something mithya if you don't even see it. If like the horns on the hare, on the rabbit, horns of the rabbit, you don't even see that. So you cannot call it as mithya. The desert waters, the mirage waters, you can call as mithya because you do see it first. Then you go and negate it. That part has to be understood. It's a subtle point, needs to be understood, that you cannot call something as mithya unless you actually see it. So we actually see the world. We see the world, we see the objects, we see our own feelings and thoughts, and we see all those, we perceive, and that's why they are mithya. If they were not there only, we would not have seen them. So mithya is something that has to be experienced, and then you falsify it. And therefore he says, this is Maya, and Maya karya. Karya is effect. It is the effect. This is the illusion that is played by Maya. Maya is like that magician. You know, the magician shows us things, but are they really there? We see he'll put a woman in the box and then he'll cut the box into two. Everybody has seen that trick, right? And then the whole woman comes out. Arey, how come? Right? But you see him cutting the box into two. He separates the two pieces. And then the woman just comes out of nowhere. So you see it, but you know it's an illusion. And this is what Maya is all about. Okay? See, in the second paragraph, last line, though they are all non-existent, for the time being, they are perceptible to us in our own delusion. That is very important, that they have to be perceptible for a certain amount of time. Dream is another example. Why is dream mithya? Because I do see it, and while I see it, it is very, very real to me, right? And then when I wake up, I come to know that it really was an illusion. And now from 124 to 135, Bhagwan is going to now describe the self. I've been telling you that Viveka is the discrimination between the self and the not self. And to discriminate between two things, you have to know both the things. You can't just know one thing. You have to know both. So not self.
Can I just ask a quick question? Isn't life an illusion?
Isn't life an illusion?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you define life?
You know, like we live through life from the day we were born to the day we die. Is that an illusion or is it real?
Is it changing?
Yeah.
Has your life changed? So what, that which is changing, is it seen? Is it experienced?
Yes.
Okay. The criteria of kshetra: seen, changing, inert, mithya. So life, do you see it?
Yeah.
Is it changing?
Yeah.
So it becomes, by itself it is inert, and therefore it is mithya. Use these four, na? Whatever thing you take, use these four criteria. The four criteria are there. Do you see? So body, you see the body? Somebody else's body. Your own body. Chalo. See, do I see my own body? Yes.
Yeah, but
Has it changed?
then what is the purpose of life?
Purpose of life is to know the real self. What is the truth is to be known. What is the real truth? If this whole thing is not self, what is the self? That is the entire, that's why moksha, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. 4 purusharthas Vedas have given us, right? You lead a dharmic life, you earn wealth, you fulfill your desires as per the dharma, and final goal has to be moksha only for everybody. And we may think that it is a very funny thing, but if you look at your own life, all the pursuits that you have done so far, have you done it for happiness or have you done it for sorrow? You got married so that, oh, I want some sorrow, let me get married. Who's done that? Let me have kids, I want sorrow. Or what do you say? What do you say? It'll make me happy. It'll make me complete. Son will make me, even that is theirs. Not even daughter, son will make me complete. Then they should also, then that also we insist, they should also get married and they should also have a son, child so that I can play with that grandchild. To be happy or to be sorrowful? So everybody is wanting that moksha, though they don't understand what happiness is. That is the problem. Problem is that's why Bhagwan said in chapter 7, Arjun, everybody is walking towards me. Oh Bhagwan, you're that arrogant that you think. He says, yes, everybody wants happiness. The only thing they don't know is I am the only source of happiness. There is no other source. They are walking in all different directions. One wants a house, one wants a spouse, one wants a job, one wants a promotion, one wants this, one wants that. They're walking in all directions for happiness, and I am standing here inside of them. They don't turn towards me. If they would just find the source of happiness, no reason to run. So we are all going after moksha. Yeah.
Jayaji, about Mano Nasha and Mano Laya, Jivan Mukta, he is living, he is engaged in the world and all that. How he handles that? How is Mano Nasha? If he has a Mano Nasha, then he cannot engage. So can you explain that to me?
Mano Nasha is the Nasha, the destruction of the ego. So the functional mind remains.
Okay.
Functional mind remains. It is the ego which is destroyed in Mano Nasha. In Mano Laya, the ego only goes to sleep and then wakes up, and the ego is right there, back in again to torment you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Jayaji.
Okay.
Jayaji, I just had one question. We talked about vasanas and how they bring us back again and again into the rebirth and all that cycle. But what about, like those people who sometimes, like we hear all the time that some people remember everything, and then what's the point in when they remember? Like, why do they have to remember whatever, they're remembering? Like, what would
Remembering from the past life you're talking about, right?
or
Okay.
they suddenly say that I was here, I was born there, whatever.
Yeah. The cases that I have heard, though, they do remember, but it's only for a short period. They do forget afterwards, and that is one proof of rebirth, because the scriptures say that there is rebirth. So that is one of the proofs that some people do remember their previous births as well, but they forget. So in chapter 15, Bhagwan has said that apohanam, which is forgetfulness, is my blessing. And it is actually a blessing that we can forget things. And so there are a rare few who do remember, but you know, the memory goes away, it fades. And so it just proves that there is rebirth.
Like there was
Nothing
this,
to do with vasanas.
no, like there was this lady who, you know, had that cancer and all that. And then while she was being operated on, Anita something, I don't know what her last name is, I forget.
Anita Moorjani, Dying to Be Me. Read
Yeah,
the book. That is a near-death experience. That is not a remembrance of the past births. She had a near-death experience. I've told this. Dying to Be Me is the book. Anita Moorjani. Do read it.
Right, right.
so she
Yeah.
remembers like when she's on the operating table, she sees.
Because she had an out-of-body experience. She was out there. Herself, the Atma was out there, so that Atma could see, because Atma is beyond, Om is beyond time and space. She could actually see her brother boarding the plane in Pune, see her own mother, her own husband crying in the waiting room. At the same time, she could see, she's, you know, at the top when you are, you have a bird's eye view of everything that is going on. That's how she had it. That's how, it's a near-death experience. A lot of people have had near-death experience. So at that time, yeah. And then she also saw the future where her body was cured. That's why she came back into the body and she told the doctor. And in 15 days, she was let go. She was released. Right? That is near-death experience. Okay, now we are going to go into the description of the self. अथ ते सम्प्रवक्ष्यामि स्वरूपं परमात्मनः यद्विज्ञाय नरो बन्धात् मुक्तः कैवल्यमश्नुते. Now I will tell you the real nature of the Supreme Self, realizing which man is freed from all his personality encumbrances, bondages, and attains liberation. So this is where now we come to the self, which is the only real thing, really real thing. And the definition of real is that which does not change in the 3 periods of time. And by that definition, if you apply that definition to anything in this world, you will find that it doesn't hold good. So our own body, has it not changed? From baby body into our mind, our thoughts, our intellect, our knowledge level, hasn't that changed? We know so much more about COVID, which 2 years ago, nobody even had heard about it. So knowledge goes on increasing. So whatever is increasing is changing. And so whatever is changing is false. And so the changeless substratum is the only real thing. And that is the self. And that is Satchit Ananda, scriptures say it is happiness. And that's why, that's what Bhagwan means in Bhagavad Gita when he says people are walking towards me, means people are walking towards happiness, except the direction is wrong. That is the only thing. You just change the direction from outward to inside, finished. That's it. So to know what is the, we have to know that now. We didn't even know. Before we came into the mission, we didn't even know that this self is within us and all that. So once we know it, then we might control, because then later on now, then he'll tell us how to turn our direction, turn our attention to the self within. So he says, knowing that bandhat kaivalyam mashtu. There's a Kaivalya Upanishad also. Kaivalya comes from the word kevala. Kevala means alone. So the self alone is real and there is everything else is mithya. So when we come to know the self and identify with the self, which that lady did, she was the self. She left the body and then she could see her own body from outside. So she became a witness to the body. Then we will get that happiness that we are all looking for. Since our child, since birth only, we are looking for happiness. Even a baby cries when he's hungry, right? When he's uncomfortable. Even the baby is telling us that this is giving me sorrow. You know, you're holding me in one way. No, I don't like that. So even the babies know, even babies are going after happiness. Right from that time we are going. So the real thing is to know the self and to be the self, means to remain abiding in that thought at our level, if we can only remain as a witness to whatever is happening to our body, mind, and intellect, it'll help. It'll help a lot. So this is what he's saying. These bondage, and Gurudev is, he will be released from the bondages created by his own unintelligent and pain-giving identification. See, we don't realize that attachment is what is giving us sorrow. We love to get attached. We think it is love. We think it is love, but it is attachment. And that is what gives us sorrow. So that's why chapter 6, Bhagavan describes this. Sukha is dukkha viyoga. Something like that he describes. It is detachment from sorrow is happiness, he says. Detachment from sorrow is happiness. How do I detach from sorrow? What is sorrow? Sorrow is identification with the not self. And that itself I can't give up. Why? Because I think I'm the body, na? I think I'm the body. That's why I have the kids, I have the grandkids. They're all coming from the body. So when we look at Arjun, that is what is happening to him. He thinks he's the body. Now there's no enemy. There is only his grandfather and uncle and guru and whatnot. So that detachment, if when it comes, it'll attach you to happiness. Detachment from sorrow, but understand sorrow to be an attachment. Attachment to what? To the not self. So either you maintain your attachment, but the goal should be changed from not self to self. That is okay. That is fine. That is bhakti. What they're saying is already you have the capital of love. You already love somebody. Now that somebody, you change it into God. So your favorite God, whoever, Krishna, Rama, Shiva, you have that love. Keep the love. Okay, you don't want to give up your love. Okay, no problem. Don't give up your love. Change the object of love. And then see. And Vedanta will say self. Bhakti will say your Ishta Devata, form. That's the same. So
Can I just ask a quick question? Just a quick question. Can we ever reach a state where there is no mind? I mean,
yes, we can. Because we see that
in this living world, can we get to a state where there's no mind?
Yeah. Swami Vivekananda, Raman Maharshi, Nisargadatta Maharaj, Yajnavalkya, Janak Raja, Aurobindo, Paramahansa Yogananda. They've done it. There is not, Bhagwan, the scriptures cannot ask us to do something which is totally impossible. What is the point? What is the point? Like one guy, somebody was sick.
You see, you mentioned earlier on that in deep sleep, there is no mind.
But I mentioned something else. Who remembers what I mentioned?
You get up and you know then there is a mind.
The mind is folded. Folded.
Manonasha and Manolaya. Manolaya is happening in deep sleep.
Manolaya.
Manonasha is not happening in deep sleep. And why do I know Manonasha is not happening? Because exactly the same worry comes to me when I wake up. You think some new worry comes or some happiness? Suddenly I get up, I'm very worried about something. I go to bed. In the morning, suddenly I'm like happy, happy, happy. If there was a new mind that woke up, the previous mind was gone, I should be waking up happy, but I wake up worried. So Manolaya, otherwise deep, all of us would have become realized only then. Where is the point? There's no point of studying also then. What is the point, right? Asti ki kaschit swayam nityam aham pratyaya lambanaha avasthatraya sakshi san panchakosha vilakshanaha. Something there is asti. See, because there are some people who say nasti, there is nothing. The Buddhist Shunyavadins, they say that there is a void from where all this has come. This is what here he's contradicting. Asti, something there is which is the absolute entity. the eternal substratum for the very awareness of the ego. It is the witness of the three states, and it is distinct from all the five sheets. It is distinct from all the five sheets. We know the five sheets, and there is something other than that which is now controlling the body. You know, even the mind we know is different from the body, right? Mind also, mind is different. So I consider myself to the mind, and then I say I'm controlling the body. That I, you know, when I say I see, I touch, I taste, I perceive, I experience, I feel happy, I feel sad, all these things that I say, the I, aham, that's why he said here, nityam aham pratyaya lambanaha. Aham, this aham pratyaya, see, aham, ham is to destroy, and aham is that which never gets destroyed. That is the meaning, the actual etymological meaning of the word aham is that something which never gets destroyed. Now, what is happening is throughout the day, throughout my life, I've kept on saying, I did this, I did that, I. So I think that that is what it is. That is what I am. That is the aham pratyaya, that I am. But what we need to understand is that that is only the ego. That is only a reflection of the real I that Gurudev described as the big I and the small I. So right now in our state of ignorance, we have taken the small I to be me. Ego is me, body is me, mind is me, and that's why I get hurt. I feel happy, I feel worried. All these thoughts of positive and negative thoughts are belonging to the small I. And the small I cannot function without the big I. Please know that. So technically what is happening is there is this consciousness, like the sun is shining on the beach, and there is a log of wood, and then there is a small seashell on the beach. The sun reflects off of the seashell, but it doesn't reflect off of the log of wood. So in us, we have a subtle medium called as the mind. In that, the consciousness reflects. That reflection is the small I. That reflection is the ego. That reflection has the sentiency from the pure consciousness, and it takes up the form of the body, mind, and there is this mithya entity. It is mithya. Why is it mithya? I told you, mithya is that which is seen. I do experience happiness, right? And I do say I'm happy. I do say I'm sad. I do say I'm worried. I do say I'm jealous. I'm angry. I'm this, I'm that. I keep on saying that, don't I? Don't I? I'm a good person. I'm a very compassionate person. I feel very sympathetic towards people. I want to help somebody. I want to give somebody. I want to do something. All that is coming from that reflection, which is the ego, which is the small I. And see, even that is called as aham. Why? Because that I also never disappears. It only folds in deep sleep. It only folds in deep sleep. That's why I don't experience worry. That worry is belonging to that small I, but because that I is folded, I don't experience the worry in deep sleep. When I wake up, the I wakes up as well. And then that worry is there with that I, which was there the previous night. Okay. So the small I gets folded, but the big I never gets folded even in the deep sleep state. The pure conscious, am I not alive? Deep sleep is, that's why it's not a nash, it's not death. It is only deep sleep from where I wake up the next morning. So that I, the big I, is always there. That is what he's referring to here. Sat pancha kosha vilakshana is different. It is different from the five koshas, means it is different from the three bodies. Okay, and the ego, the small I, falls under subtle body. Please remember. So therefore, here there is that description, the distinction that is being made, that there is a small I, there is an ego which is belonging to the subtle body, and this is different from the three bodies. So this I is different from the subtle body. That is the self. Though I keep on thinking that this is the self. What is the meaning of I think this is the self? I mean, the body is me, that considering the body to be me. And we need to understand that body is not me. I am something different. And that is what I think in the Bhagavad Gita class, I said, the practice is, I am not the body. But you shouldn't think that if I say I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, then I will be nothing. That is absolutely wrong. That's delusion. Thinking that if I keep on saying I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm not the intellect, then I will be nothing. That's a deluded mind. This is why, this is what he's saying here. Asti, there is something. You may not know what it is, but at this stage, at least know that there is something other than the body, mind, and intellect. There is something, and try to know it. This is what Bhagavan is saying here. The Buddhist Shunyavadins say that there is nothing. There's not, and everything has come from that nothing. How, in our experience, you go to a goldsmith, the Buddhists say you may make an ornament without gold. Now how you can make it? And if we can do it. Nothing can come out of nothing. Now, nothing, something has to be there. That is what he's saying here. Asti Kaschit swayam nityam aham pratyaya lambanaha. Nitya, it is not only there, it is nitya, it is eternally with us. But I don't recognize it. I don't recognize it. I think that this is me, the mind is me, the worry is me, I am angry, I am worried, I am happy. Do I ever say, I am not angry, anger is rising in me? This is what Gurudev used to give this example. Don't say, I am angry. Say, anger is rising in me. That way what happens is the me is separate and the anger is separate. But right now, there is no separation because I don't know. So that's why I go on saying, I'm angry, I'm happy, I'm this thing, I'm doing this, I will enjoy that. Everything is I. So when neti, this is Bhagavan Shankaracharya's method, it is. Not this, you shouldn't end up with, then I will be nothing. And if you truly believe that, then there's lack of understanding. Yes, Mohini.
Yeah, most of the time we have been raised with this thought that we are nothing, we are mitti se aaye hain, mitti mein jana hai. All the religions say that. Mitti se aaye ho, mitti mein hi jana hai. You have come dust from dust.
Mitti mein jana. That is mitti mein jana is to the body. Body has come from mitti. Yeah. Self has not come from mitti. Self is a causeless cause. Exactly. So self has not come from mitti. What is going into, even Christians now, from dust to dust, from ashes to ashes. That is referring to the body.
Yeah, that's what now I understand. But
okay.
We are growing up, we are given this thought, we are nothing. And it took me a long time to understand.
Yeah.
It's not that I am nothing.
Body has come from dust, and into dust it will go. It will get recycled. It never dies.
Yeah.
Nothing dies. It's going to get recycled.
And this ego we talk about, I have a little bit confusion that without ego, we cannot do much.
We cannot do anything without ego.
Anything. Yeah.
Let me tell you. Because ego is identification. Even when I'm speaking, I am identified with my vocal cords. So there is ego. But the ego is surrendered. If that ego says, I'm doing it so people will think how good I am and they will appreciate me, that's a bad ego. But if the ego is saying, this is my service to my guru, this is what I'm saying. The reason that I'm doing this is it is a service to my guru because I have learned all this from my guru. If I have to repay him, he doesn't need money. He doesn't need anything. He needs his knowledge to be given to others. And this is why I'm doing, so ego, without ego, there cannot be any function, because ego is identification. It is required.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Jayaji, you said that the sentiency is reflected in the mind. So the reflection is what we're talking about.
When talking about when
That it's
ego, the ego, when we talk about the ego, we are talking about the reflection.
So did you say, I know maybe I'm wrong here, did you say the reflection is mithya?
Yes.
So
Yes.
if the reflection is causing us to be alive, right?
If the reflection is,
That's what's in living in this body, which is
yes.
mithya. And if the
Yes.
reflection is mithya,
Yes.
what is real?
The self. Can a reflection
The
happen without the self?
The reflection is what
Is happening because of what? Reflection is happening
because of the sentiency. But you said the reflection is mithya.
okay. All right. Hold on. There is a mirror. Okay. Say there is a mirror, but nobody is standing in front of it. The mirror is capable of reflecting, right?
Yeah.
But there is nobody there. Nobody standing in front of the mirror. Will there a reflection be? Will there be a reflection in the mirror? I'll tell you very simply. There is a mirror, say. There's a mirror. It's there. Okay. Now I'm here. So the mirror, my reflection is in the mirror. All right. Now, no, that the reflection has no reality. If I remove the mirror, will there be a reflection? Okay. If I remove myself, will there be a reflection? No. So is the reflection real or am I real? Because with or without the mirror, I am there or no?
But that's what I'm saying. So what is real?
Me, I am real. The self is real. The self is being reflected in the pool of the mind. The self, the pure consciousness, the Satchit Ananda principle.
But you
That
see,
is
when it's
what
reflected, sorry, I just want to understand it. You say when it's reflected, it's mithya.
The reflection is mithya, no? The object is not mithya.
The sentiency that's reflected in the mind, and that's causing us to be alive, that's causing...
Yes.
So
So let me give you another example. Or if you've got Atma Bodh, read Atma Bodh. And this example is from there. So there is a dark room. The room is very dark and there is no light. Outside there is sunlight, but that sunlight cannot directly come into the room. Okay? And there's no electricity. Yeah? This is in a village. This is Bhagwan Shankaracharya's example. So what I do is, because I want light in the room, but the sun cannot directly enter the room, I take a bucket of water and I keep it at the door. So I keep it outside the room, but near the door. Now what happens is the sun is shining outside. That sun reflects into the bucket of water, and that reflection throws light into the room, and the room is now lit. Okay? Is this clear? Example is understood?
I understand that, yes.
You understand. Very good. Very good. Now, for the reflection to happen, the bucket and the water is required. Agree?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I remove the bucket. Will the reflection happen?
No.
Okay, good. I keep the bucket, but then the sun goes away. Will the reflection happen? Abhimanyu?
No.
Very good. Very good. So what does it mean? The reflection can happen only when the sun is there and also the bucket and the water is there.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed?
Yeah.
Okay. So if that reflection is depending on two things, not even one thing, two things, it is depending on the sun, it is depending on the bucket, can it be called as real? does it fit the description of real, that which does not change in the 3 periods of time? So when the sun sets, during that period, is the reflection happening? Will the reflection happen?
No.
So it is not fitting the definition of that which does not change in the 3 periods of time. If it doesn't fit that definition, can it be called real?
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Could it be the realization of that it's not real, that yourself, that realization? When
You have to realize that the reflection is mithya, and that is the ego.
Oh, that's the ego, or that's the self?
No, that reflection is the ego.
No, I know reflection is ego, but when you realize, then
the self remains and the ego disappears.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So the real thing, Abhimanyu, is only the self. Now, when you take the room is the body, the mind. This is the room. Okay. No, room is the body. The bucket is the mind. You got it? Bucket and water is the mind. In that mind, the sun, which is the pure consciousness, reflects. In turn, from the mind, it reflects into this dark room, which is the body, which is inert. And this is how enlivening happens. The mistake I make is that I consider this reflection to be real. Reflection is happening in the ego. In the mind, we say in the initial stages, as we go further on, we say even in the mind, it is reflecting in the ego, which is the subtlest part of the mind. So I keep on considering the ego to be real. I did this, my dog, my house, my this, my that. I'm such a good speaker. I'm such a good meditator. I am such a good this. So much I fan the ego that the ego only starts appearing as real to me. That is the mistake. That is the mistake.
You see, originally, my understanding was the reflection is what we're saying is real. But now the reflection itself is mithya. So when we say the big I, what are we referring to?
The pure consciousness.
Which
the sun is the big I.
Which is just reflected in us, which is not real.
The reflection is not real. The big I is real.
Okay. It's just a clarification in my mind.
Sun is real. Read Atma Bodh. If you have Drigdrish Vivek, read Drigdrish Vivek. Atma Bodh. Atma Bodh, that example.
All along, I thought the big I is what's reflected in me. All along, I thought what is reflected in me and what I'm thinking of is the big I that's causing me to be alive. But now
through the reflection, through
the reflection, not
directly.
So it's
but
indirect.
The reflection, how can it have reality?
The big I is indirect.
Big I is indirect.
Okay.
The reflection cannot have reality because it is dependent on the mirror and the object. If this is the mirror, if I remove the mirror, no reflection. If I remove myself from front of the mirror, no reflection.
Okay.
Om swasti prajabhya paripalayantam nyayena margena mahim mahishaha go brahmanebhya shubhamastu nityam loka samasta sukhino bhavantu kale varshatu parjanyaha prithvi sasya shalini desho yam kshobarahita brahmana santu nirbhayaha om sarvesham swasti bhavatu sarvesham shantir bhavatu sarvesham purnam bhavatu sarvesham mangalam bhavatu sarve bhavantu sukhinah sarve santu niramayaha sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ